you so much, Annapurna, for being here with us today. I'm delighted to be speaking with Annapurna, who's the founder and CEO of Emotional Ethics. And this is something so important in a world where we forget human connections. Annapurna is a seasoned HR leader with more than 3 decades of experience shaping human capital strategy, organizational development, and leadership transformation across a global environment. As the founder of Emotional Ethics and company, she pioneers the integration of emotional intelligence into leadership. This also helps leaders build more resilient ecosystems that are more conscious and with future-ready teams. Thank you for being here today. It's lovely to speak to you, especially seeing as your work actually blends strategic foresight with human centricity, which is so important and invaluable in Karnataka's evolving leadership landscape. To begin with, how has your leadership philosophy shifted over these 3 decades of transformation? And that's not a small time frame we're talking about. We're talking about from the beginning to where we are today.
True. I mean, you're taking down through my memory lane. And I started my work back in 90s, and that time even the degrees what we had got was also not as HR. We specialized in HR, but it was all about personnel management, industrial relations and things like that. Those were the era. So you could completely understand the leadership has quite transformed from 90s to now 2026. It is a big, huge time of 3 decades we walked through. And literally learning on the go, when I started them that time, I could see those leaders very authoritative, very powerful, very demanding, and there was a clear-cut hierarchy that, okay, this person is at this level, we are at this level, those type of things I thought. But as we moved along, and typically the way the workforce changed, the industries changed. There were a lot of, from manufacturing process industries to knowledge economies, knowledge industries, IT industries, where it was more people-centric than any of the machine-centric and all. So leadership underwent a lot of change, I would say, number one. Number two, what has also happened in this, in this journey was also that people have moved from how they manage people. The leaders have moved how to manage people. And they have moved from controlling to enabling. That's one big change which has come for sure. Right? The focus has not, the focus, though it is there on the supervision of the people, still they would like to help individuals to identify their potential for growth. That's the beauty part of the leaders which is coming up at this point of time. Then earlier organizations rewarded only the technical expertise. Now sustainable leadership requires emotional intelligence, adaptability, and purpose-driven decision. This is what we are seeing in this landscape of ecosystem now. And leadership today requires comfort, and comfort with what? Comfort with ambiguity. There's nothing called very clear picture. There's nothing called black and white anymore. We work on blue and grey zones. And that is where we have to give a comfort. And the ability to lead through uncertainty, and has become more important than having all the answers which we require. We don't have all the answers. Tomorrow, what would happen? We have no idea. Prime Minister has announced certain things, but can we implement, can we not implement? What will happen if supposing India is going to go into some crisis mode? And we don't have answers. But leaders can't stop going. They have to move organizations. So how do they work in answer? That's the question which we have. And leaders create other leaders. It's the demand is that, They cannot just tell I have so much. Can I create another leader so that I move out and when someone is coming up there?
I think so much of what you said rings true, and I think your blue and grey areas make so much sense, specifically when you're talking about the 90s when we had our modem, tick, 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 when you start logging in, and to move from there to a point where, you've got AI here, you've got this here, that here. And I think also post-pandemic, the need for involved leadership is so much larger than it used to be back when all of us started working, because like you said, leaders were only leaders back then. There was nothing more. They had no personal connect. They did not know. You're not coming in today. Your loss, not my problem. Today we care enough to ask why. And if you don't, you lose out. because that's still on your
Yes.
team and that person belongs to your team. And I think especially post-pandemic, like you're talking about uncertainty, the need for adaptability. If suddenly tomorrow everything is hybrid and we're not going to be able to meet in person because we cannot travel, we just have to be able to adapt to it. And I think the fact that as a community, as a whole generation, we've all been able to immediately pick up to working online. I think that says a lot to where we will be in the future.
That's typically something which is called as like an enneatic leadership style.
Yeah.
Yoga is only a single cell,
Okay.
but still it can take the
Shape
shape
of anything. Yeah.
So can leaders today do this? And that's what I've done.
And I think all of us know how the amoeba can immediately shift. So unless we shape shifters, it's not going to work,
It's
right?
not going to work,
But how do you think, talking about human-centric strategy, how can organizations embed human centricity and emotional intelligence into their people strategy to sort of keep it going?
Absolutely. Emotional intelligence today it cannot be isolated with anything, it just can't be standalone something. So it has to start integrating right from hiring, right from the talent acquisition itself, into grooming, into development, into retention, into whenever decision making processes are happening, everything. So definitely emotional intelligence should be integrated in all these aspects, and while you're doing any kind of performance management and things like that also. So organizations must design employee experiences with the same seriousness how they actually design the customer experiences. That's what it is. And policies should support holistic well-being. It's not something that is. So when we are telling about holistic well-being, it could be mental, emotional, financial, social well-being there. And today we have flexible work models. So flexible work models, personal career growth paths, these all will be the call of the day now. It is not something that one rule, one policy for all.
Yeah.
No, we can't. There's no one size fits for all. You really need to know the people. You really need to understand your, the whole dissection of your people. Understand, because we have multi-generations. We have people coming up with different aspirations to the workforce. So you just can't tell there is one size fit for I cannot do this. So I need to understand people. I need to understand their emotions. I need to understand their aspirations. So how do I work around that? Now, how do I create ecosystems for that? That's very important. And AI plays a very big role in that, in doing these type of things. So leadership communication should be quite transparent and consistent and compassionate.
Yeah, I think compassion plays such a huge role,
Yes.
right, in communication.
Especially during this change of certainty, uncertainty, and things like that. And see, all of us like to be getting recognized and identified. So recognition and appreciation cultures significantly improve the engagement and trust. So we just can't tell that okay, only a few people can be done, or I can give this gratification later. No, because we are having workforce who demands instant gratification. So when Gen Z work, they will not wait for the year-long appraisal to get gratified. They wanted immediate gratification. Now, if you feel that it's something which should not be done because you are some other generation workforce, it's not right. You need to adapt. You need to learn. You need to understand why it's supposed to retain all of that and things like that. So organizations that prioritize all this emotional well-being, and they have a stronger retention.
Yeah, so I think that also helps towards building a future-ready, agile organization.
Yes.
But what do you think they would have to do to stay ready for this, in terms of an organization?
One is, when you're talking about future-ready organization, one mantra or one sutra is learning never stops. It is a continuous process. It has to go on, and it cannot be told that only my junior workforce will learn and I will stop because I know everything. It's for all and all, every time. So you need to have that momentum on, and that's the culture which you organizations.
I think we were talking about it before we started recording as well. And the concept of constantly learning is so important, especially the way things are changing today. we learned 10 minutes ago is already obsolete.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you need to have that openness. You need to embrace everything. You just can't tell that, okay, there is some new technology coming in or there is something new which has blocked me or something. Are you open? Are you transparent? Are you open to learn things? So again, there is a question of how much should I learn? See, this is also becoming too much of a task. What all I should I learn? How much should I learn? I should learn agentic AI, I should learn this, I should learn that, and things like that. Now, you are the master of yours. You need to know where I will put my energy and how much I will learn, expert, and I will do. So, supposing you tell that this is my forte, and this is where I would go and deep, narrow and deep in this, that's someone else's forte. So, now collaborate.
Yeah.
You just can't tell that I learn everything, I can do everything. You cannot do everything. That's impossible for a human being. You need others to be there to collaborate and do work as a team. And today doesn't matter whether the team member is just fresher out of the college or something like that. No, a team is a hybrid team with everyone. Yeah. And everyone's contribution is so very important. So in my last organization, we had people who were like grey-headed completely and acting as there was some time who were just campus freshers and they did brilliant jobs. So a team is not something that it is a homogeneous team anymore.
Right.
It's a heterogeneous team, different people, global teams coming together, brainstorming, doing things. So definitely when you talk about agile forces, agile workforce, agile future-ready technologies, future-ready workplaces, everything and all, I think it's not that this is the landscape. Globe is the landscape. You can reach out to everybody today. We are connected as one single world. So you can pick up any person, any resource from anywhere, connect to them, and just do things.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important part of how a team should work as well, because you're talking about engagement across the board, right? So how do you think emotional intelligence really will strengthen decision making and engagement when you're talking about team resilience as well at this point?
Yeah, for that there's another dimension which we need to bring in the workplaces, that is psychological safety. If I don't feel psychologically safe, I may not give my company.
Definitely.
I don't like to speak to my manager, I don't like to speak to my HR, I don't like to speak to my CEO, I would not like to open up in any of the surveys, I have built a wall. So the moment the leaders can build a very good safer, then you can, and the leaders should also be self-aware. A lot self-aware about themselves. What are their triggers? What are their, what are their likes? What are their dislikes? What are their biases? What are their, what are the judgments? You need to know, constantly you need to know all of it. If you are able to know that, then you know where you would cross the line.
Right.
So you are aware that, okay, this is not me. This is something which my bias is coming out now. So that's the part the EI is playing for you. So once you're self-aware, once you understand things, once you're self-aware, then you're also trying to get aware of the other person's feelings, other person's emotions. You're able to understand it. And you should be a radical listener, I would say. It's not even, I would not put a empathetic listening, I would tell a radical, you really need to practice that. A good leader is someone who can listen well and then talk.
Definitely. I think so much of how a leader reacts is also what they understand when they actually listen as opposed to just talk.
Yeah. So when we say react, we would also replace it with respect. Because reaction never kind of solutions. It's always how do I respond to the situation? How do I be empathetic with it? How do I be a good listener? Then how do I really embrace the thoughts, what the person is saying? And how do I make it very psychologically safe for the person to tell, okay, express it and give that comfort for them? And this is not easy, my dear. This is very tough because leaders have to put that kind of effort to do this. And this is the learning for the leader.
Right.
Leaders have, of course, results, of course, profitability, of course, markets, of course, customers, of course, all of this. These are all tricks which they need to do. But if you are sitting in that position, this is all to be somewhere being managed as processes. These all will be
I love that you keep talking about psychological safety, especially like in a world where everything is so online and I think the younger workforce, more than the older workforce, I'm fairly certain, depends so much on validation from the outside. The need to feel that they are in a safe space and they can actually speak out is so important, right?
Very much.
So,
It's
so,
not easy.
so that moves on to whole to Karnataka's leadership landscape as well. What leadership capabilities do you talk about? Do you think really will define Karnataka's next generation of HR and business leaders? And this includes all, obviously, quite clearly, as we've talked about, the ability to actually listen.
Karnataka is not only Bangalore.
Yep. Yes,
Which
and
is
that's
often
something,
like
that's something I think the world needs to keep getting reminded about, because people
Yes.
tend to sort of limit it here.
Yes.
But we've got, the Hubli Dharwad,
Yes.
the whole
Yes.
Mysore, everyone's
Yes.
picking up so
Yes.
much.
So that's something which it is always a pity when people think that Karnataka means only Bengaluru. No, it's not only Bengaluru. It has so many districts to talk about, so many things what Karnataka is producing. It's not only IT. It has lots others to give for us. So yes, today leadership in, of course, when Bangalore is leading the way for all of it, one thing is very clear that we are doing a global leadership. We are no more stuck to one state or one country or something, which we have led the way. Either ways, if you take the examples of Narayan Murthy, Ajim Premji or Kiran Majumdar or any another who have been born and they have given, transferred their things there. There is other way around, Western leaders managing the country leaderships and that side also. So it's a blended leadership styles which we have seen everywhere, everything and all. So yes, Karnataka now today requires, we have seen different phases of leadership, different models of it and things like that. My only thing when we are talking about leadership here, we should see that future leaders must balance the technological advancement with human-centered leadership. That's very important for to keep it. Then adaptability and continuous learning will become a core leadership area. That is one thing which we should see. Then the other thing what we have to also be mindful about is cross-cultural collaboration skills.
Right.
You need to really tell the other person what we are and how we do in our workplaces vis-a-vis understanding theirs. It's very important to know this cross culture because
And I think only then does it have a mutual respect as well.
Absolutely.
You don't understand where the other person's coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. So cross-cultural collaboration skills will become very critical to having these diverse and global teams. Because what would happen otherwise, they will not understand, then you're not making them to understand. So that is where we will start losing out also, the burnouts.
Right.
Whatever you talk about. And leaders will need more stronger emotional intelligence to manage their hybrid, multi-generational and high aspirational workforce. Very high aspirational workforce. That's one. Then the other thing which we are losing and seeing is the ethical leadership.
Right.
That's something which we have to build. The ethical leadership and responsible decision making, what we are supposed to do, which will become very important in the age of AI and data-driven analysis. So HR leaders in Karnataka will move from operational roles, which they are already, and to strategic business roles for them.
And I think that sort of wraps the whole thing out so perfectly, because you're adding everything up to talk about how, the landscape is evolving, yes, but so should we to keep up with what's moving
So
on.
three things become very important. One is to keep Karnataka sustainable in every sense,
Right.
to keep Karnataka's workforce inclusive, highly socially just, and this will become the mainstream leadership expectations for us.
Perfect. I think that's really wrapped it up so beautifully.
So Karnataka's leadership ecosystem has the opportunity to become a global benchmark by combining innovation, which we are having already in many industries, and with brand new systems. And I think we should have this one is also to see that today we have forums which are IT leaders forum or manufacturing leaders forum or textile forum and all. I would like to see that can we have just Karnataka leaders forum,
I think that would be wonderful because it'll aid
Yeah.
with collaboration across sectors as well.
Across
Right?
sectors, because even if today what has happened is earlier what used to happen, we used not have this IT dominator so much. So when we used to go to any of CII, FICCI, BCIC and things like that, everyone used to come and represent. But today what has happened, IT becoming a dominated segment, it has its own way to do things. These rest of them have gone into something. So I want to see that is there one stage where we see all the leaders, really participating and talking about the same issues, same kind of similar challenges and exchange notes. That's something which we should try.
I should aspire for
Yes,
as well.
yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you.
Lovely having you
Lovely.
today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.